Chapter 9, Connecting Compassionately with Others. Let us become the change we seek in the world. Mahatma Gandhi. NVC's most important use may be in developing self compassion. We have seen how NVC contributes to relationships with friends and family, at work, and in the political arena. Its most crucial application, however, may be in the way we treat ourselves. When we are internally violent towards ourselves, it is difficult to be genuinely compassionate towards others. Remembering the specialness of what we are. In the play A Thousand Clowns by Herb Gardner, the protagonist refuses to release his 12-year-old nephew to child welfare authorities, declaring, I want him to get to know what exactly the special thing he is, or else he won't notice it when it starts to go. I want him to stay awake. I want to be sure he sees all the wild possibilities. I want him to know it's worth all the trouble just to give the world a little going when you get the chance. And I want him to know the subtle, sneaky, important reason why he was born a human and not a chair. I am gravely concerned that many of us have lost awareness of the special thing we are. We have forgotten the subtle, sneaky, important reason. The uncle so passionately wanted his nephew to know. When critical self concepts prevent us from seeing the beauty in ourselves, we lose connection with the divine energy that is our source. Conditioned to view ourselves as objects full of shortcomings, is it any wonder that many of us end up relating violently to ourselves? We use NVC to evaluate ourselves in ways that endanger growth rather than self hatred. An important area where this violence can be replaced with compassion is in a moment to moment evaluation of ourselves. Since we want whatever we do to lead to the enrichment of life, it is critical to know how to evaluate events and conditions in ways that help us learn and make ongoing choices that serve us. Unfortunately, the way we've been trained to evaluate ourselves often promotes more self hatred than learning. Evaluating ourselves when we've been less than perfect. In a routine workshop activity, I asked participants to recall a recent occasion when they did something they wish they hadn't. We then look at how they spoke to themselves immediately after having made what is referred to in common language as a mistake or error. Typical statements were, that was dumb. How could you do such a stupid thing? What's wrong with you? You're always messing up. That's selfish. These speakers had been taught to judge themselves in ways that imply that what they did was wrong or bad. Their self abandonment implicitly assumes that they deserve to suffer for what they've done. It is tragic that so many of us get enmeshed in self hatred rather than benefit from our mistakes, which show us our limitations and guide us towards growth. Even when we sometimes do learn a lesson from mistakes for which we judge ourselves harshly, I worry about the nature of the energy behind that kind of change and learning. I'd like change to be stimulated by a clear desire to enrich life for ourselves or for others rather than by destructive energies that can shame us or guilt. If the way we evaluate ourselves leads us to feel shame and we consequently change our behavior, we are allowing our growing and learning to be guided by self-hatred. Shame is a form of self-hatred, and actions taken in reaction to shame are not free and joyful acts. Even if our intention is to behave with more kindness and sensitivity, if people sense shame or guilt behind our actions, they are less likely to appreciate what we do than if we are motivated purely by the human desire to contribute to life. Avoid shouldering yourself. In our language, there is a word with enormous power to create shame and guilt. This violent word, which we commonly use to evaluate ourselves, is so deeply ingrained in our consciousness that many of us would have trouble imagining how to live without it. It is the word should, as in I should have known better, or I shouldn't have done that. Most of the time, when we use this word with ourselves, we resist learning because should implies that there is no choice. Human beings, when hearing any kind of demand, tend to resist because it threatens our autonomy, a strong need for choice. We have this reaction to tyranny even when it's internal tyranny in the form of a should. A similar expression of internal demand occurs in the following self evaluation. What I'm doing is just terrible. I really must do something about it. Think for a moment of all the people you've heard say, I really should give up smoking, or I really have to do something about exercising more. They keep saying that they must do, and they keep resisting doing it. Because human beings were not meant to be slaves. We were not meant to succumb to the dictates of should and have to, whether they come from outside or inside of ourselves. And if we do yield and submit to those demands, our actions arise from an energy that is devoid of life giving joy.